Hi everyone, welcome to round 7 from the Major Open. So after that rather successful rapid play, it is back down to the dirty work, i.e. the long play. And the problem with this one day game stuff is it gives saddles plenty of time to prep, which is not good. But anyway, here we go. I'm on right near the bottom on a measly 1.5 out of 6, and I'm playing Turi again. So hopefully I can do the double over him, and hopefully win a Turi's chocolate orange as a result. As you remember, I played him in my first ever game at the British, like ever in my entire life, in Rapid 1. And this time I got the white pieces against him. But he is of course the Gatwick champion, or Gatwick under 150 champion, so it's not going to be easy. And interestingly enough, the previous night he left to go back to painting suspiciously early, so I could smell some prep. Perhaps it made me going through all my videos and that. So my plan was I didn't do any prep at all and just turned up and played something off the wall. In this second week I didn't really prep at all, to be honest, guys. Got sick of people avoiding my prep. It was just a waste of time. I'd rather just chill instead. So I played d4. So I still haven't played e4 since that 23 move win. And he played g6, which I did not expect at all, to be honest. And now I have the option of transposing back to an e4 opening by playing 2e4 and avoiding his Sicilian. But I thought I'll play h4 instead, which is not as outrageous as it looks, because of course once black plays g6, you've got the idea of playing h5 and undermining the g6 point and getting maybe a quick attack. And it made me think for about 10 minutes as well. Because of course if he plays something like Bce3, my next move is going to be this. And if knight f6, we can play h6, force the bishop back to his start square. That's what I was planning on playing. And of course if he takes, then that's very bad, of course. Just play something like this. But he played h5, which is what I expected him to play, just to block any attack. But now you see I've got this weakness on the g5 square, is very weak, because he never really wants to be playing f6, so I can try and focus my pieces on it. So I play e4, d6. It's a very weird opening, this. f3. The point is to play, I'm not sure why I played. I think I wanted to play bishop e3 with any knight f6 to g4 ideas. And I want to maybe get a castle queen side and get a swift attack going. Bishop g7, bishop e3. Ready to set up a battery. But he played knight d7. He never actually moved his knight from f6 or castle, which was very annoying. So I wanted to get rid of his dark square. Bishop with queen d2, bishop a6. I played queen d2. And now after e5, this is the first interesting point where, to be honest, a maneuver I want to play is knight h3 to f2, because then the knight gets into the game and it supports the g4 advance, which could be an important tool in hacking him up later. But the problem is, if I play knight h3 in this position, that loses to queen takes h4 check. On the previous move, in fact, I looked at playing in this position actually, I think. Yeah, this is when I love to play knight h3, because his bishop can't take, there's no queen takes h4 check, but he'll play e5 and save knight f2. Yes, I think this is quite annoying, this, for me. I think he gets quite a lot of counterplay in this position. Actually, no, I've just miscalculated, because f4 actually wins a piece, but you get the point that I think this e5 square could be quite annoying, so I want to try and I want after queen d2, e5, I want to play d5, so he can't use the e5 square and he's blocked his bishop in. Now he played a6, so his plan is if I dare castle queenside, he'll get a quick attack with b5. Now in this position, I think I wanted to play knight c3, but I thought, why let him play b5? Now if I castle queenside, it seems to get a very quick, could get a very quick attack actually. Although we can't move a c pawn, which probably might mean he hasn't got an attack, but it's still, I didn't like this threatening pawn advances towards my king, and because I'd lost all them last 3 games, my confidence was sky low. I mean, usually I'd have played. I think it's the best plan. Play knight c3, allow b5, and castle queenside. But the problem is my confidence was sky low, so I played c4 instead and opted to play more positionally, with maybe ideas of castling short and playing b4, c5, like King's Indian style. Because we've transposed to a sort of King's Indian in this position. Except his knight never comes to f6, which makes it a modern defence. He also has the chances of maybe playing f5 in some positions, like now actually might be a good time. And then I play knight c3 and I'm stopping b5. And then maybe he can play f4, bishop moves back and then bring his knight in. Although the only problem with this is that I'm just not going to castle kingside and I'll go queenside instead. But even then they can maybe play ideas like rook b8, b5. So it's quite an interesting plan. Or after knight c3, if he wants, he can keep the tension. Or you can actually, I would recommend taking on that e4 because I take it back with the knight. And this is actually very bad now because my knight's coming to g5 and into e6. So after, you should keep the tension because if I ever take him, it's very bad for me. I crashed. If I ever take him, it's not good because he takes back the g pawn and he's got a strong centre and he's going to play e4 and liberate his bishop. So the thing is, after this, probably both sides should probably keep the tension until it favours them. Like if I castle short, then you should consider f4 and hack attack. So after knight c3, you should just develop, and it'll be an interesting game. That's my key rules that for when black plays f5 in these structures that I explained to you there, my own little secrets. He played bishop h6, which surprised me, but it is a bad bishop, so maybe it does make sense to get rid of the bishops. I think I should have took him, because he throws his knight, but I'll bet to a bad square, and then play knight c3. But I actually let him take me. Queen e7. I was struggling to see what I had in this position. I was struggling to find a plan. The only plan I could think of was to occupy the g5 square, but there's some interesting points. I decided I need to get some pieces. I've not developed hardly any pieces. I've made ridiculous amounts of pawn moves. I mean, of course, it doesn't matter because it's a block position. It's very hard for him to take advantage. But also, when I get the bishop in game, so I played bishop d3. So if his knight ever attacks, I can come back to c2 and then try and boot his knight away with b4. He played knight h6, getting the knight in and maybe supporting an f5 advance because bishop d3 was also to stop f5, which I was worried about. And now I thought that f5 is going to come next, and when he plays f4 he can actually play it with tempo on my queen. And also I didn't like the queen on e3 at all, so I played interesting move. I went queen back to f2. Another point to this was to support the h4 point, so I can actually play knight h3. So this was a multi-purpose move, and actually one of my favourite moves of the tournament, even though it's absolutely completely rubbish according to the engine, and goes from slight edge to white to slight edge to black with castles. That was changed now, thankfully. These silicon machines are annoying at times. But now I thought now is a good time for f5. Because that's why I thought I'd play knight h6 to get f5, and that's why I got my queen out of the way. I think I castle queenside. And now in this position, maybe I should move this knight into f6 to add more pressure to e4 and give his pawn an f5 another defender. You can also consider playing c6 to open up files towards the queenside, move the bishop to d7, play rook c8, or rook b8, b5. There's a lot of ideas in this position. It's a very interesting position actually. I wish I got interesting positions more often, but usually I just get very dull positions where I usually dive boredom halfway through and lose. Knight c5, bishop goes back to c2, and now I think now I thought I might consider playing if I play a5 in this position. That's what I thought I'd really play. It's a typical theme this to stop me kicking his knight away. But the thing is, if I play a3, he plays a4. This is another rule I'll tell you now that I learned off FM when I was there. The correct way of like booting so many knights away. If I play a3, he plays a4, and then he's got the b3 square as well. So what you do is you first play b3 yourself to stop a4, and then you play A3 then B4. That's the correct procedure for booting this knight away. But I'm a long way from booting it away still, because my rook on A1 is hanging at the end of it all. So I've got to like castle first. And although A5 does give me B5, you can of course play C6 to boot it away. So A5 would have been a good move, but you played this very strange move instead. Which is now showing why maybe C7 is only 120, because it's a very weak move this. I mean, up to now he's played a lot higher than his grade. But yeah, I don't get the point. It blocks his key break, and if he's trying to get Queen F4, and I can just boot it away with my knight. It's a very strange move this. So I took advantage of it. I played B4 and booted his knight back to a bad square. So now I definitely am going to castle short. And now I decided I could either get my king out of the centre, because he can chip away at my advanced pawns now with moves like A5. And of course I've got a plan of forcing through C5 in the future. Put a rook on the C file. There's a wealth of ideas. So I played knight H3, which gets a piece towards the G5 square. I'm about to castle short, and actually I'm playing really well this game. He played knight F8, which is a good prophylaxis move, so if I ever come to G5 I can challenge my knight with knight H7. So I decided now I'll be very awkward and through in this check, because I had a feeling he'd like put his bishop away or his knight, and then he's further away from controlling the G5 square, and if he doesn't want to do that he has to keep his king in the centre. So interestingly enough, I actually thought his best move would be to actually move his king, because it blocks. It's not like I'm going to hack him up. I thought king d8 is the best move. He also might come in handy in protecting c7 in some lines. Although I do have this, which maybe can force things open. But even so, it's not really that threatening. Or actually, maybe if he takes with pawn at queen b6. So actually, maybe it was right to block with the bishop. Because my point was after bishop d7, knight d7, his knight is a lot further away from controlling g5. And I had some interesting plans now. But first I was worried again about moves like a5. And my king lying in the centre, so I castled. So I finally castled at move 18 and he's not castled at all. That's the joy of these block positions. And now for some reason he undoes his 13th move and moves his queen all the way back to e7, which is rather odd. Now I had a bit of a think in this position, and I was thinking of a few moves. I was thinking of putting my rook on c1, moving knight to a4 and trying to get c5 in. So yeah, I looked at knight a4, but I was worried about b5. But actually this is not very good. Oops, not that. Takes, knight back, rook b8, and then stack this pawn to get this one. Threatening knight takes c7 so he can castle out of it. And then somebody rook a c1 and white is going to win the pawn with a better position. So knight a4 would have been a good plan actually, and I probably would have played it if I hadn't been scared of that move. And then my plan's basically put a rook on the c file, maybe with my... Well, I have to protect... Actually, yeah, actually we just put double rooks on the c file, keep my queen on that pawn and get c5 in and try and open the c file and infiltrate into the black position. And get closer to winning my Toast Chocolate Orange. And also just to note, his FIDE rating is actually, it's deflated. I mean, he's a decent player actually. He deserves to be at least 1600, but he's only 17 or something, so I really need to win this game or my FIDE is going to get crucified. And I played the best move actually. I played knight g5, because the only way to kick the knight allows my knight to come into e6, but this is actually it's very interesting, because he played knight f8 with his plan of knight a7 again. So I played c5, because now he's moved his knight away, I can get my break in. So now I'm going to take on d6 and bring a rook to c file and murder his king in the centre. And now, here is an evaluation question for you. This is your test for the position. Evaluate the consequences of 20 f6 and the potential pawn sacrifice with knight e6. What your view? Pause the video if you want to have a go. Okay, well, in the previous 3 games I'd had good sacrificial opportunities and bottled out of playing them, but this time I did bottle it. I actually played a good one. He played f6 as expected, and I just came in my knight. I don't care I'm losing the pawn. There is so much compensation for the pawn. Because after knight takes e6, d takes e6. If he plays queen takes e6, I take this. And if he takes with the pawn, I jump into d5. And this knight is just absolutely crushing black. This is almost decisive, this, even though my pawn down, because d5 square, look at the contrast of the knights. The d5 square it's a particular sacrifice in these structures that I played knight e6 and giving the pawn up, because you get the d5 square, and black's d6 pawn is very weak as well, and it's just more than enough compensation. But of course that's not the only line I had to see, because of course he can play c6 and kick me out of d5, so of course I've got to see if I've got enough compensation in this position. I play rook d1, keep the pressure up. If he plays d takes c5, then actually I just take with the queen, and it's going to be well, I'm probably going to drop this e6 pawn, but the problem is if he tries to get it, I got check and take this, and white's rook on the 7th gives him the advantage. But he played rook d8, which I expected, contesting the file, and now I took. Just need to try and open lines up, because otherwise I'm just going to do a pawn down. So if he plays queen takes e6, I now have the b6 square to work with. That's one of the key things to analyse when looking at knight this and the pawn sack. I'm going to have the b6 square in a lot of lines. And now I've got threats on b7, and the problem is if he loses b7, I'll probably lose a6 and c6 as well, but it's very hard to defend. Like if he plays rook to b8, we have d7 check. It's quite nasty, because king has to go here, and then something like quite move like knight a4 into c5 is crushing. Say if he grabs this pawn, so we don't play that. We play it here. I'm going to take b7 next move. This is so if he tries to bring his knight back into defense. Take this guy, and all sorts of nasty things happen. This is not good. So after queen b6, he probably has to sack this pawn, get his king out the centre, and then we can take this guy, and then if he takes this guy, we take this guy, and then we bring the rook across, the queen moves, and then we take this guy, and white is a pawn up with a great position, and is going to run that a pawn down to victory. Black's got no counterplay. And now I can have my chocolate orange. But he did good, he took this pawn instead, so now I can't defend the e pawn, and now this is why I made the inaccuracy. So I was actually starting to doubt myself. I thought I'd not got enough compensation. I should have just calmly played knight a4, which is what I originally intended. Okay, you can have this pawn, have it if you want, I don't care. So I'm going to get my queen to a7, and I'm going to maul your queen side to pieces. May the force be with you. So if he takes this, castle's out of it, we'll take this guy, and we'll take that guy as well next. This is, let's say he takes this guy, we take this guy, protecting the knight, and then we take the other guy next move. If he tries queen to b3, then his knight back to c3, actually a very nice move, I think. Can he just take this pawn? Oh, knight goes into d5 eventually, because once we go to the c pawn, the knight gets into his junior square, and again, white has very strong compensation for the pawn. But I played queen g3, which was just a little probing move. It was. Our plan was that in a lot of lines I thought black would just castle out of danger, so I thought if I can force him to play rook g8 and he can't castle, then his king's stuck in the centre, and I can try and hack him up. So you can consider in this position actually playing queen takes e6, and after I take it, you can play queen s7. I thought I might do that, and I get a slightly better endgame after this continuation. This is a bit better for white, but nothing crazy. Black's the only real advantage I've got is that black's got more pawn islands, 3 pawn islands to my 2. That's the only advantage I've got in this position. And my knight's a bit better, but it shouldn't be enough for more than a small edge. But he played rook g8 as expected, and I played the move f4, which is absolutely complete garbage. I was just trying to get his king in the centre. He also has a few cheapo as well. If f takes, I think there's some cheapo in this position. There was that I can't. Oh yeah, sorry, not yet. Rook takes e6, and then queen e3 was my follow-up, which is a complete rubbish move. Which has some cheapo of f5, but it's not good. I should have just started open lines up, and then sack this pawn as well. And then queen e3, very nice move. And if he moves this knight, then we're coming to a7 again. If he takes this, guy, then I've got a mate. So that is pretty much winning. Okay. I'm afraid this phone call will have to wait since I'm doing a video, because I don't want to answer whoever it is. Anyway, yes, I was vibrating then. Right, okay, I played queen e3, and I played knight g4, and I thought, yes, I got queen to b6. But now I was worried now, this is just a really strong move that he didn't play for some reason. I thought this is just really strong, this. I was like, what do I do? If I play rook takes f4, which is natural, he plays rook d6, contests my challenge of the fail, and if I take and try and win b7, then this is very bad because my rook's hanging. But he played king f7 for some reason, trying to get his king to safety, trying to artificial castle, the better move, nearly move 29. I play f5 now, and now his rook's, now I'm winning the b7 pawn, although it's not as strong as I thought it was. Because he took, came to d6, and now I took it. Queen takes d6 and queen takes b7 check. Now this is what we both missed. In this position, I thought this is really good for me, because if he plays queen e7, I nab c6 pawn, I'm going to get the d5 square. But there was a little snag to it. There was a very sneaky move in this position. Queen a7 check. And I have two options now. One is to play king f1, knight f2 check, and I've got to go to h2, how I get double checked, and then after knight g4 check, again if I go to g3 I get double checked, then squares I can use are h1 and h3, and it's just back and forth perpetual check. And if black wants, the thing is, if black wants to try and win himself, say with something like rook g4, then I can play queen e6 check, king g7, and then we sack and sack the exchange, and I've got a perpetual myself. So either side gives perpetual check in the after queen e7, which is rather amusing. And if I try and avoid the draw with this move, which looks natural, he's got this at the end, and I've got to play this, and then he's got this, and he has the initiative, and it might end up better for black this, so I've probably got to take the draw by perpetual. And if he tries to hack me, then I can have one myself. But the problem is he actually missed that and played king f8. And that's like, I thought Christmas had come early because I played rook d1, and that was suddenly it's completely lost for black. Because after queen e7, d7, and my queen and rook on the 7th are showing me of a quick kill from this position. And the rest of the moves don't really require much comment, because he has to move his queen back, and I played queen takes c6, which is actually not quite the strongest move, but it wins the queen, as you're going to see. Because now I'm threatening queen takes f6 check. He tried rook g7 to parry the threats on the rank, but I played the move queen d6 check. The only actual winning move, actually, surprisingly. I thought there'd be a lot of wins in this position. And now he has to block with the rook. Or in fact, whatever he does, the point is I've got this next move. And the amusing thing is, in this position he actually played, I think he played something like rook d7, he did, and forgot that his rook's pinned. So it was an illegal move, but I didn't decide to claim 2 minutes on the clock in the end because it was rather irrelevant. And plus I'm a nice guy. I mean, if I had like seconds left, I would have claimed 2 minutes, but it was increment anyway. And now, surprisingly, maybe play on for a bit, maybe trying to get to 52 moves for a laugh, but we're only on move 38, so it's not going to happen. So I take the queen and bring my knight in. Finally, the knight gets into extreme square. And after rook d7, the funny thing is, if his rook gets to d1, I actually get mated, because his knight is cutting my king off, but I play queen e6 check. And now he throws in the towel, because the only move to keep hold of the rook allows a very pretty mate, actually, which is similar to the one which he would do to me if his rook was on d1. So for some strike and similarities in this position. So yeah, that was actually not a bad game, actually. I thought it was a very poor game, but he played really well, a lot better than his rating, and I think he can take a lot of heart from that game. And judging by some of his results later on in the event, I think he did take heart from this performance. And he played a lot better than me in the rapid play, I'll admit that. But sadly, I didn't get a toast chocolate orange. But yeah, I think it was quite a good game this, actually. I'd say it was at the bottom end of the major. It's just a shame about that oversight at the end, but when chess is played, there be blunder. But I hope you enjoyed the gaming video, and hopefully I can carry on my form in round 8, which is coming shortly. But for now, please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.